Hey, Xiaomi here, and welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're all doing well, that you're having a great start to the week. Today for me is a Wednesday, it's October 20 something. I'm going to work, but I just wanted to have like this little clip where I just have, a fresh opening introduction to everyone, because I've noticed that I have been filming, but it's just sporadic and like all over the place, and I'm just like, none is organized or structured. So I was like, let me just have an opening clip where I just start fresh. But I am going to include like my overall thoughts of the books that I have read previously, because I have read some fascinating books and some books that I'm a bit skeptical on and whatnot. So I'm just going to give you like my final thoughts of everything that I have read, instead of like showing you my entire clip of the entire book that I was reading. So yeah, I'm currently right now reading Labyrinth Lost. I'm 100 pages into it. I'm loving it. It's a reread for me just because I want to finish the final book in the series. But I just wanted to have this little clip. Hope that you're all doing well, and I'm just going to insert all the previous clips that I have filmed up to right now. And I'm going to get my ass to work because I started working. There's roughly no one here. Yesterday was an ordeal because literally there was no one here, and I was trying to find somebody to open the door for me, because that's not my classroom. My classroom is in a building where I'm not supposed to enter because I think it's about to collapse. It's just deemed not for you not to enter. So I don't have any keys in that classroom, and yesterday it was a hassle. But today I hope to get the doors opened. So we're gonna see how this week goes, because like 2 weeks ago they kicked us out of the school. Just because the Department of Education deemed that nobody was supposed to be in schools, just because the earthquakes activated again. But as of right now, we're good to go. So yeah, let me get to work, and then hopefully later throughout the day I'll update you with Labyrinth Lost. So here are all the previous clips that I had filmed. Okay, you guys, so time for a little bit of an update, because yep, I've fallen into the same routine of saying that I'm going to read, then not reading, and then Goodreads continuously reminding me of all the books that I have not read, because I'm really behind. But you know what, we're not gonna get into that. We're gonna move on. But I have one thing to say, because it's the only thing I've been like really enjoying looking at, and that's that I got a new bookshelf. I put it together. It was a pain to put together because it's one of the most hardest bookshelves I've ever had to put together in my life, and that's saying a lot because I build a lot of things around this house. But that one, it was an ordeal. I even have a boo-boo on my hand. I'm not gonna show it to you because it's a little bit it's a little bit gross, because I had to like really dig in there. But anyways, I built it. I'm happy with it. That's why now you can see like the big shelf and the small one. Also, you know what it is to move that shelf and that one, take all the books out, put them on the bed, and then move the shelves. It was exhausting. But anywho, I managed to fix it the way that I want it, and I like it. I really like it. I have more space for also the books that are missing something, like the continuation or the final book in a series, and I left it that little spot right there. So I'm really content with the way that it came out. On the top I have like my books that I start working. So I have like my Guía del Maestro and all those other little things that I'm going to be using. But I have it right there because I was like, you know what, easy access. I have a lot of things on this desk. I don't want to clutter it anymore. So I was like, you know what, let me just put it there for the time being, and then I'm going to remove it. So I'm going to show it to you so you can see it, but I really like the way that it came out. As for reading wise, I'm reading quite a few books, so let's just get into it. I started Girl Serpent Thorn by Melissa Bashardost, and I have to say that I really do like the world building aspects to this book. It does not feel info dumpy. When you're reading a book and you're like, oh my god, this is so info dumpy. In this one, I really don't feel that aspect. I feel that it flows with the story that the author is trying to create, and I'm really enjoying that aspect of it. I can't say too much about the main character because I haven't really connected with her yet. I mean, she's still struggling to discover like what is it that she wants to accomplish in her life and who is she. I really am enjoying like the aspect as to how was it that she became what she is. So yeah, I'm currently on page 89, and the funny thing is that this is sprayed edges. This is the one that I got in Fairy Loom. I typically tab my books. I've been tabbing it, but I've been tabbing it like really in there, so like I can only like look at the tabs when I flip through it. But it doesn't matter because I just want to show how beautiful the sprayed edges are, and I don't like to have tabs like flapping out there. But so far it's good. I have to admit that I really do like Azad. I think that he's a really interesting character. I don't know how I feel on the insta love kind of scenarios that we're getting, but so far it is a really good read, and I can't wait to get to it a little bit further in. Okay, so time for a little bit of an update. If you hear any noises, the AC is on because it's really hot here. So I really want to get this update out of the way. So I managed to finish Girl, Serpent, and Thorn. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars, and I don't even know if I'm going to explain myself correctly, but we're gonna try, because I have a lot of feelings with this book. Because overall I thought that the world building was incredible. Like, I loved it, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed also, like, it's sort of like, I wouldn't necessarily say the author's notes, but it's there as the author's notes. Can I say, let's see, yeah, it's as the author's notes. It would have been great if it would have been a glossary or whatnot, but I also enjoyed the author's note as to how was it that the author created all of these divs and the inspiration that the author had behind everything that was written. So the world building was really great. I enjoyed that. The writing style was something that I enjoyed as well. The pace flowed nicely, and also the writing with the pace flowed nicely. That's what I wanted to say, because even though I didn't have any connections with any of the characters, I was invested in a lot of things that were happening, especially in the first act and the second act. The third act, I'm not going to say that, because for me, the third act, a lot of the things that happened felt convenient and, in a sense, a little bit rushed, because, like, I don't know if I mentioned this in my previous clip, but it was like there was so little pages, like 77 pages, and she was going to go down, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? It's 77 pages, and it's really intense right now, and I feel like everything's just gonna be wrapped up, and it was, you know, it was wrapped up swiftly. I'm still trying to decide as to why something happened, but I'm not gonna criticize it. But overall, I thought that a lot of things were convenient. I didn't connect with any of the characters. I felt like there were so many interesting characters that none of them stood out. Okay, it's like I wanted the author to delve more into these characters, to give me more. If there's gonna be a female romance, give a little bit more. Don't make it, I don't know, like, I'm not even gonna say convenient, but it's just like I wanted more interaction between them. I wanted just something that I would have rooted for, because even though I was like, I like this, you know, I kind of feel it, but then I don't know, other things happen, and then I don't know why she felt a connection with this character because of what he did. And it's just like, I don't know, like, a lot of things I felt that I was being told a lot of things, but when it came down to being shown these things, like, it felt flat. And even though there is an aspect of kind of a show and tell, like, mixed together, I still didn't feel the intensity of the bad guy. Let's just be real. Like, I felt that the bad guy, even though there were some moral choices that he took, I don't know, it was just like, okay, you're a bad guy, but then it's kind of, we're trying to make him a morally great character. Like, we're trying to see the flaws that the character has, and like sort of an origin story as to why this character became the way that they are. And I'm just like, okay, but it doesn't feel like this character was that badass as the character was brought out to be. And that's something that I was just like, And like I said, there were a lot of details that were really convenient, and I never connected with any of the characters, even though I thought that many characters were quite interesting and quite fascinating. I was just, I don't know, it was a good story, because it was a good story, and I enjoyed the fairy tale aspects of it, but overall it didn't really immerse me into the story. It's a great story for you to sit down and just read. The audiobook is incredible. That's something that I would say, like, you know, to pick up, because I heard the audiobook and I followed along, just because of the pronunciation of certain words, and also in the author's notes you also get that pronunciation. But overall, this was a great read, not one that really immersed me within the pages, but I'm quite glad that I gave it a shot. Would I recommend it? Heck yeah, it's a great story. Like I said, you know, just pick it up, form your own opinions, but for me, it really didn't suck me in, and I can't say that I enjoyed all the characters because, like, they were great characters. They were just, like, two-dimensional, you know? I didn't get too much from them. But yeah. So this is going to be a comfy, cozy day. It's cold today, which is why I'm wearing this. Like, we have a tropical storm heading our way, and right now the news is covering everything with that. They usually tend to cover everything when it happens, when it's a tropical storm or anything like that. The entire day is dedicated to things that are happening on the island. So that's what I'm doing right now, but I'm also listening to the audiobook of The Black Kids. I am 40% into it, and I have to admit I'm really enjoying it. Like, it has a sense of nostalgia because it takes place around the 90s, so it has that sense of nostalgia because, you know, I'm an 80s, I was born in the 80s, but like I'm a 90s baby just because, you know, that's the best year there is, you know. I sometimes say that I'm stuck in the 90s, but you know, we're gonna get past that. But I'm really enjoying it. Like, I like that feel of it. I also think that the writing style is really cool, and like I had forgotten about the inspiration behind it. Like, I wasn't too aware of it, and it just, you know, like came back into my mind. I was reading up on it, so I you know, you can see, you know, the reality being presented within the story. So that's something that I'm going to enjoy. You know, it's something that I have enjoyed to see, you know, the similarities between it and whatnot. And it's roughly, you know, we're roughly living that time and age again, you know, with everything that's happening with the Black Lives Matters movement and all that. But it's a great story so far. I'm enjoying the writing style, and it's something that has kept me intrigued. The Black Kids, so far it's good. The audiobook is great. I'm enjoying it. And yeah, can you see, we're gonna have probably power outages, so I just pray that, you know, nothing gets damaged. But we're gonna see. I'm just gonna continue watching the news, hear my audiobook every now and then, and we'll see what happens, because I think eventually we're gonna be without electricity. I managed to finish The Black Kids by Christina Hammond Reeds, and I gave it a total of 3 out of 5 stars. I think that while it is educational and the book touches on important topics, I think that my main issue was with the characters in general. I think that they were roughly more like one-dimensional. They were really just lacking personality and also depth and also emotion. Like, I think that the side characters also were really toxic, so I really didn't connect with any of the characters. I really didn't like any of the characters at all, and you know, that's one of my biggest issues because I'm a character-driven reader. But I think that it is educational. It does deal with great topics like, you know, police brutality, social injustice, and also showing you the view on different classes. So I thought that was really well done. I also think that it mirrors a lot of things that are happening nowadays. These were incidents that I had forgotten about because it does deal with a 1992 LA riot and, you know, everything that went behind that riot. So I think that those aspects as a whole are quite fascinating, and, you know, again, how it mirrors nowadays. So I think it's an important read. But just for me, the characters in general, I know, like, for me it was pitched like sort of The Hate U Give, and I was expecting for the main characters to just like go out and protest, or at least, you know, to have some kind of semblance within, you know, what's happening in the community. And also, like, if she wasn't gonna go out into public, you know, because that's obviously exposing yourself to a lot of dangers, maybe I thought that she was gonna do it through her school and like standing up for social injustice and, like, you know, voicing her opinions and her emotions and her thoughts and all that. But it really wasn't about that. It was just her living her day-to-day life and just being a spectator through TV, you know, seeing everything, you know, unfold instead of actually being within the context of what was happening. So I thought it was going to mirror something like, you know, The Hate U Give, but it wasn't like that. I really did enjoy her sister. I think that it was told on her sister's perspective. Probably would have been like more enjoyable for me just because it had that aspect, you know, she did fight a lot for what she believed in, and I really enjoyed her personality, as brief as it was given, you know. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts on not The Hate U Give, on The Black Kids. Overall, I think it's a beautiful cover, and I think it includes a lot of amazing topics and ones that you should really discuss and like sit down, you know, and just, you know, have a heart to heart with anybody that you want to discuss these topics with. I think that that has a great potential for a lot of things. But overall, like, my main issue is, like I mentioned, you know, the main characters just, you know, didn't work for me.
everyone. So I hope that you're doing good. Today is Sunday, and if you see a mess behind me, ignore it, just because like I'm currently cleaning my bookshelves because I have everything from the top cleaned. I also cleaned this bookshelf. I just have to clean the bottom two shelves, and I'm also getting rid of a few books that when I get a classroom, if eventually I have one, I like to create like a little bookshelf where I have all the books that I would like students to eventually like read on their own, because I do want to have something that's called Dear Time, which is drop everything and read within the classroom. So that's something that I already explained to them that I want to have, but we haven't like started doing it as of yet, just because I haven't been able to see them. With my update for the house in the Cerulean Sea, because I think that I can speak cohesively now and actually like inform you of my overall thoughts of the book. I gave that book 5 out of 5 stars. I thought that it was a beautiful and amazing story. It was so heartfelt, it was wholesome, it was something that I enjoyed through and through. And it's funny because somebody on Instagram, when I posted that this is my new favorite read of 2020 and also that I have a new father figure, somebody commented and were like, what is this book about? What genre is it? And I was just like, you know what? It's kind of hard to explain the genre because it's a mix of contemporary with fantasy, and I can't call it magical realism just because it isn't that, because there's a lot of fantasy aspects that are woven between, this everyday life of this social worker that lives by the book, and he has to go to orphanages and just, we can't use the word orphanage based on the book, especially based on lightness. No, it was Arthur who told them that, just because it means other things. But I really did love the story because of everything that it encompassed, and that's why it's kind of difficult for me to actually like pick a specific category, genre as well, because like our main character is an adult, but yet all of our other side characters and like sort of main characters, can I say, because they do play a vital role, are kids. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna explain it as contemporary with a mix of fantasy, and just because I explained because of the social worker that lives by the books, but he has to investigate kids that have magical abilities and if they can actually stay in the orphanage, if it's appropriate for them to stay there. And I want more people to read this book, honestly. I want fan art from this book because it was just so beautiful. I also loved how within the book there is a not so subtle message of like trying to accept people for who they are, and actually people criticizing people in general for how they appear, and like placing a stereotypical banner on them, or just categorizing them into a specific form of being just because of the way that they look on the outside. And I thought that this book played a beautiful example on that. It was just amazing. I love that because it makes you think a lot, because there were some beautiful quotes which I really want the book to actually like reread it and discover those quotes, because these quotes were really, really impactful. There were some that I was just like, oh man, this just hits right to home, because it was so beautiful. And I can't wait to get it. Like, I looked at my local bookstore and they didn't have it, so I need to check Amazon to see if they have it, because I really want to reread that book already. I also thought that the audiobook was freaking amazing. I love when audiobooks have like narrators that are immersive, in the sense that they change the voices of the characters to kind of fit those characters, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. I think that it makes it more immersive, because you have a blob, roughly, because he's a blob, but he's just such a caring and beautiful person that how do you imagine a voice of a blob to be? Honestly, you're not gonna imagine it to be eloquent and like something that you can understand through and through. It has to have like this little undertone to it. And also the elf, the gnome, not the elf, the gnome, it's how I would honestly, like, in my mind, picture how this gnome would actually speak. So I think, like, me personally, I love the audiobook because of those little voices that were changed and whatnot, because I love when audiobooks are like that. I just love it. Like, I'm looking right now at Heartless, and I loved the narrator of Heartless. She was beautiful. I loved all those different voices that she did, and I freaking adored that book because of that, because I like it when it's like that, I don't like it. When it's just like the only thing that the narrator does is like lower their voice or just pitch their voice a little higher and whatnot. But I like it when these voices are changed and whatnot. So yeah, highly recommend for you anybody to pick that book up, because it was just a very, very important book to read, even though, you know, it's contemporary with fantasy. It does give you a lot of insight into how to treat a person, how to be respectful, and also the queer aspects that it has. I was just like, oh my god, my heart was ready, and I was just like, hurry up. Like, that's where the ending like kind of broke me, because I was just like, man, come on, Linus, like, hurry up, be a risk taker. You never know what's gonna happen, and you're not living your life, you're just living a routine. And it was beautiful. I'm gonna say that because I don't wanna give any spoilers, but the story was had a beautiful ending. I mean, like you saw, I cried. There were happy tears, there were sad tears, there were just tears that I didn't want the book to end, but it was just lovely, and I adored it so much.
Okay, hi. I promised to look more presentable in the next clip, but I just really wanted to update on Cemetery Boys. I noticed I haven't given any updates, but first of all, good morning. Hey, how are you? I'm having a lovely weekend today. Today is Sunday. It's really dark. I have my fairy lights on because it rained, but now it stopped, and it's really gloomy and dark, and I love this weather. It's also a little bit cool, so I'm just like thriving right now. And yeah, I've been reading. Yesterday I watched a lot of Halloween movies, and I also read a lot. But with Cemetery Boys, oh my god, I am living this book right now. Okay, I can't see. Right now I'm on page 266, and I know that I said that the font was really small, and like I downloaded the audiobook, but I heard the audiobook for like 2 to 3 chapters and then I stopped. I don't know, I don't like the audiobook. I'm not vibing with it. So I've been reading and watching movies and reading, and I'm just enjoying it. I think my eyes have adjusted to the font size. But like, oh my god, I'm loving this book so much. Jadriel, Maritza, Julian, these characters are just so wholesome, so beautiful. They've gone through so much, but I just freaking adore them so much. And oh my god, especially Julian with his backstory and, you know, his family. Oh my god, it's just so freaking amazing. And also Jadriel and everything that he has gone through being a transgender Brujex. It's just really difficult, especially in his Latino family, because, you know, a lot of Latinos families are stuck to old ways. They're really old-fashioned and they don't want to adapt to change. But it's just frustrating how, you know, you get to see that and, you know, live it, because it's true, you know. That's something that has to change. So I'm just really loving also, what is it, Catrice, I think is its name. How he fights, yeah, Catrice, how he fights for Yadriel. It's just, oh my god, this just such a beautiful story. I'm loving the world building to the Brujex backstory, and how is it that they came to be, and just everything with it is just so fascinating. I'm really enjoying everything right now, and I'm just so sad with what's gonna happen, because I know it's gonna happen.
Love the writing style. It's really quite fascinating. I'm enjoying it so much. But right now, I love also how Jadriel has stepped out of his comfort zone, you know? Jadriel is a very interesting character. I have to admit, there's so many things that are hidden there that, you know, I just want him to step out and just speak his mind honestly. And sometimes you can tell that he's just tired of having to defend himself on a constant daily basis, especially to his family. And I love it because it's not like he hates his family, even though there are moments where he should, because it's just like, it's just such an injustice how they're treating him, you know. And there's sometimes that I want to just smack Enrique because I'm just like, me cago en nada, de verdad. There are so many things that are happening that I'm still trying to pinpoint what the hell was it that happened to them, honestly, because we don't know. It's still elusive, and that's what I love about it. Like, you can't pinpoint these little details. So I think that the author is doing an amazing job at that, and I haven't even been able to guess anything because I'm just like, well, who did it? I'm actually thinking something, but it's like in the back of my mind, and I'm just like, I don't know, there's a part of me that doesn't think that. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I can't wait to finish it. So I'm gonna finish it, and then I'm gonna tell you my final thoughts.
Okay, so time for a little bit of an update. I just got some much needed coffee because your girl is craving it. But I wanted to give the final update for Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. This is 5 out of 5 glorious stars. It was freaking brilliant. I loved it so much. If you don't know anything about Cemetery Boys, here we follow Jadriel. Jadriel is such a beautiful, loving character. Honestly, I'm just gonna say that. But Jadriel is a transgender Latinx main character, and he's part of a traditional old-fashioned Brujex family. And the problem is that he's struggling and he wants them to be accepted for who he is. The problem is that they're so old-fashioned that they don't want to modernize with the times. And this is Jadriel trying to roughly, you know, set himself apart, trying to prove that he is a brujo no matter what, no matter how he was born, but who he is right now. And that was just so, it was so well portrayed in my eyes, because like, you saw the struggles, you saw everything that was happening to him, and you just felt empathetic for, you know, his obstacles. And honestly, there were moments where I just wanted to step into the pages and just hug him so much. And in order for him to prove himself to his family, he decided to have his own, what is it called, his own quinces ritual, because it was neglected for a long time for him, and it was much overdue. And he was just like, you know what, no, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna prove that Lady Death is actually going to choose me as a brujo. And roughly, then another thing happens which sets off this whole trauma. That's basically where they, you know, where their journey takes them. One of his cousins is brutally murdered, and he wants to discover what is it that happens to him. So Jadriel roughly summons, he thinks that he summons like the spirit of Miguel, unfortunately, to find out what was that happened to him. Unfortunately, he summons Julian Diaz, and Julian Diaz is, you know, known as the bad boy in school. And Julian Diaz is also roughly murdered, and he's trying to discover also what is it that happens to him, because he's not going to go quietly, because he wants to know who did this to him, and he also wants to see if his family is okay. And these two boys, along with Maritza, Jadriel's best friend, oh my god, these three main characters, I'm gonna say just main characters, even though, you know, it comes and goes, but these three characters were so freaking amazing, and they just jumped out of the page, and I was just like rooting for every single one of them. And Maritza, I mentioned that she's the first main character, not main character, but like character that I read that's vegan, and I was just like, what? Yes, baby. I was so content with that, because I've never read a, you know, a Latino that's a vegan. I've never read books like that, and I was so content to have it, because honestly, being vegan in a Hispanic Latino family is really rough. It's rough because meat is everywhere. It's everywhere. In my family, they got used to it rather quickly, and I praise that. You know, I love it. My tia even does food specifically for me without meat, and I'm just like, she does pastele without any meat just for me, and I'm always just like, thank you so much. I'm just happy because like they accept it, you know, they understand and they know. And it's sometimes it's really hard, I'm not gonna deny, because it was difficult actually, like getting to mention that every single time, like I don't eat meat, I don't do this, and they're always like, oh, esos son de especially empanadillas, like those son empanadillas de pasta guayaba, la hice para ti, and I'm like, thank you so much. And I love it because, you know, adapt to modern times, you know.
Hi, so back to me again. You've already seen all those clips, and I wanted to have one update with Labyrinth Lost by Soraya de Cordova. I finished it last night. I really loved my reread of this one. I also noticed that I had forgotten about a lot of things, especially going into the second book, because I was like, where does this come from? And it's also funny because the ending, like the final pages, is indicative of something that's going to happen in the second book, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is foreshadowing for something that really does go down in the second book. And I was just like, dumbass. But I really enjoyed this reread. I had forgotten about a lot of things, especially with the world building and, you know, the fact about the brujos, and there was something that came out in the second book that I was like, where the hell did this come out of? And it's hinted at in the first book, so I was just like, stupid, man. So yes, I'm really glad that I read it. If you don't know anything about Labyrinth Lost, it's basically here we follow Alex, and she is a bruja. The problem is that she doesn't want to be a bruja. So on her death day party, which is her coming of age party, where their powers have to be blessed by their past relatives and also by their current relatives. If not, the magic will manifest in a different way, and in some way, shape, or form it can hurt them. So she decides to cast a spell, which is something that she's never done before, because she has suppressed any kind of magic that she has even hinted at even having or glimpsing at, you know, just because something happened in her life that was really traumatic. And because of that experience, a lot of the things that she feels like, you know, it's a burden to her, and also it's, you know, something that has caused her extreme pain. So I feel her and I get her on that. But if you don't know about something, don't delve in it, because like consequences to what might happen, you know, what you might do. So obviously there are a lot of consequences, and she sends every single being, dead or alive, into an in-between world. And so she has to go and find these people, because these are her family, and you know, if not, they're gonna die. So yeah, this is basically her journey. She has to go into this in-between world, and it's just fascinating, you know, the backstory to, you know, the brujos and this world that came to be. So I find all of that just really amazing, and I really do love Soraya de Cordova's writing and just the characters in general. I think it was really cool. The one thing that I did notice was that, like, Alex really did get on my nerves sometimes, because I was just like, oh, this meal for real, honestly. And there were some things that she was like really impatient. Sometimes, you know, she is really stubborn, so yeah, these things kind of fall with, you know, who she is in general. But overall, I really do love the story, and also like how, even though it comes out of nowhere, I really do like the shift it took in like romance, can I say, because it's not heavily influenced on romance, but there is these little aspects of it in there. But yeah, I really did love the story, and I already picked up the second one, which is Bruja Born. So that one is one that I really can't wait to get into, having everything fresh in my mind, and then hopefully finally I'll get to Wayward Witch. So yeah, I wanted to close off this vlog just because tomorrow is Halloween, and I want to film, you know, for that weekend. So hopefully this video is gonna go up before that. And yeah, I just want to say thank you for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful day and or night. And I don't know, if you want to tell me which was your favorite read for the month of October, then feel free and tell me, or at least September or October, either month, you know. But which has been that book that really just surprised you, that you weren't expecting that was going to surprise you, and that was just like, oh my god, this is so amazing. For me, definitely Cemetery Boys. I really did love that book. I was expecting to love it, you know, since the get-go, but it was one that just, you know, spoke to my heart. It was so beautiful, so wholesome, and I can't stop raving about it because it was just that amazing. So yeah, I'll see you in my next vlog. Peace out.